On Saturday, the 9th of September, the former EFC lightweight champion, America's Dave Mazany, seeks retribution as he goes to war with the former title contender, Zimbabwe's Temba Gorimbo. And the undefeated fighting sensation, South Africa's Cameron Pritchard, returns to the hexagon to face the BJJ black belt, Brazil's Jose de Rocha. This is the countdown to EFC 63, proudly brought to you by Keith Ho Bet Exchange. Having gained invaluable experience from fighting around the world in multiple arenas, there is little that the former EFC lightweight champion, USA's Dave Mazany, hasn't seen before.
In what was set to be a harsh introduction to the EFC and African MMA, the Pain Train first entered the organization at EFC 5, where he went head-to-head against the, at the time, African lightweight champion Vencel Nel in an exhibition non-title fight matchup.
That fight meant a lot to me. At that point, I hadn't won a fight in a long time. Getting that opportunity was super special, and how that fight ended up was a very memorable moment for me, and I'll always remember it. I'll always appreciate the experience I had with my first EFC fight. I remember sinking in the choke. I had in the rear naked, and my confidence was so low at that point. I remember thinking, I wonder how he's gonna get out of this hold. and then he tapped out, and I got up. I was so excited. I shocked the EFC crowd. That to me was a rebirth. That was a sign of an event that signified a rebirth in the Pain Train. That's when I first threw up the Iron Claw. That's when I revamped my career.
After rapid expansion, EFC started contracting athletes from around the world and went on to become a leading global fight promotion. Mazany returned and was offered an opportunity to fight at EFC 42, but this time it had the prospect of a title shot on the line.
I hadn't fought with a promotion anything like EFC. When I had the opportunity to fight Sibu Sisu Madoko, I felt like I had something to prove. I felt I had to show the fans and show everybody on that side of the world that I am relevant, that I deserve that title shot. I came out with reckless intent. I came out with a reckless, abandoned approach in order to create a knockout, to create an exciting finish, to show that side of the world, show Africa and whoever else is watching the EFC that I am legitimate and I am here to get that lightweight title, which I did later on.
After his impressive knockout performance at EFC 42, the USA's Most Wanted earned his chance at the title and the #1 contender spot. However, at EFC 51, he had no small mountain to climb.
Leon Mainhart is a tough guy. If you're an EFC fan, you know what kind of reckless force and what kind of no-quit attitude Leon Mainhart had. I was prepared for a 5-round war with Leon Mainhart. I figured I had to grind him down and grind him down and grind him down.
Tight-looking guillotine applied by Dave Mazany here. Leon might be in a bit of trouble.
He's yanking that thing back.
Cranking is Mazany.
Wow, he's really got that thing on.
He gets the victory!
The Pain Train takes the title in round #1.
And the new EFC lightweight champion of the world, Dave the Pain Train Mazany.
After a surprisingly quick exchange, Mazany shocked the EFC crowd to become the lightweight champion, and at the same time, the first ever American to hold an EFC title. Mazany was prepared to defend his belt against Don Madge at EFC 55.
Unfortunately, Don Madge broke his hand and he wasn't able to compete. But after the fight between Don and Dave in Cape Town, Dave had so many Cape Townian fans that we had to headline with him. So putting him up against Temba Gorimbo was the perfect fight for Cape Town.
Don Madge is out, Leon Mainhart is in. The dude was tuned up, ready, he was in shape, he was at weight, he was ready to fight. Leon Mainhart's always ready to fight.
Leon, are you ready? Dave, you ready? Let's fight, guys.
And I was thinking, where the heck is he getting the energy, the drive? I remember the crowd chanting, Leon, Leon, and I was just thinking, when's this guy gonna stop? You gotta be tough and you gotta be one step ahead of your opponent. So I was happy when I was able to show that I had fortitude and show that I could, beat him a second time in a longer fight.
Their fate was inevitable, and at EFC 58, the now Cape Town star Mazany was once again tasked with defending his title against city favourite Don Madge. This fight proved to be a major upset for the American, as Madge managed to get his back and submit him in the second round. Mazany may have lost his place of being named the division's best, but at EFC 63 he is set to make a comeback in a fight with the former contender, Themba Gorimbo.
We all know that Themba Gorimbo is a fantastic all-round fighter. He takes most of his opponents to the ground, which he can't do against a wrestler like Dave Mazany. I mean, we know that Dave's got a huge wrestling pedigree. We know that Themba's got spectacular striking, and Dave's got that big one knockout punch. So it's anybody's game at this stage. That's what makes it such an exciting fight.
I intend on going in and fighting against Gorimbo. I'm gonna go in and fight. I'm gonna grind him, get nasty. And then if I get that rematch with Don Madge, that's what I plan on doing. I plan on being myself. Not to take anything away from Don Madge, but I was not myself that night. He didn't beat me, he beat somebody else.
100%. Did Dave Mazany learn from his last fight? Yes. He learned what it was to learn about need and grit and grind and understanding what a loss means. And it's not the first time he's been on the losing side of things. So his mentality has changed, his need has changed, his want to win has changed. But whether he'll bring new elements to the fight, we'll have to see. And we'll have to see if it works. And then we'll have to see if it works against Themba.
Dave Mazany is hungry to win this fight and prove that he still has what it takes to be at the top. But first, he has to get through a formidable and equally hungry opposition.
Themba Gorimbo has an impressive fight record of 6 wins and only 1 defeat. This fight will be tough, but with amazing fortitude, Gorimbo isn't a stranger to adversity. At EFC 22, Gorimbo faced the Muay Thai specialist Jean Legacy Luba. The answer surprised everyone by submitting his opponent in the first round, winning his debut EFC fight. The Zimbabwean rising star battled it out against Chad Vasserman at EFC 27. With an impressive and rare submission, a barbo choke, Gorimbo once again was named the victor.
I ended up I practiced a lot that submission, so when it was in the fight, it became so natural that I just did it naturally.
After a year of inactivity, he returned to the Hexagon to fight the highly experienced submission specialist, Alex Shabub.
With that fight, I went in very confident because I had done everything I could do to win the fight. Sustained injuries before that, so I was out for a year or so, and I had switched gyms, so it was a good feeling to win the fight and to be back in the mix of fighting.
His impressive finish rate and fight record earned Gorimbo a #1 lightweight title contender spot, and at EFC 44 he went head-to-head with the champion at the time, Leon Maynard. The highly touted, undefeated Zimbabwean came so close to EFC gold, but fell just short when Maynard managed to submit him in the second.
Yeah, I am, man. I'm a better fighter now, and now everything is not just about the record. Before it was just to keep myself undefeated, but now I just go in there, do my thing, win, you know.
I'm not gonna watch past fights and expect him to be a certain way. I'm gonna expect him to be a brand new fighter every time, just like other people should expect me to be a brand new fighter every time, an improved version of myself. I expect Gorimbo to be the best fighter he's ever been.
If you can't bounce back from a loss, then you don't deserve to be in the sport. A setback like a loss, that's nothing, especially for a guy like Themba Gorimbo. He needs to get back in there and redeem himself, and I think he's on a war path to do so.
Coming off his first and only ever defeat, Gorimbo immediately took the opportunity to bounce back. He went on to face his first European opponent, the Englishman Joe Silk Cummins, and after winning the fight carrying a drastic injury, his determined nature continued to show.
I don't really look at myself as a submission artist, you know, like I just look at myself as a MMA fighter, mixed martial artist. I can do both, I can hit and I can submit. Whatever presents itself, I take.
We're always proud of our fighters when they're successful and when they do well and when they honor themselves in the cage. You know, that's the most important thing at FFM. You know, we don't really focus on winning or losing. That decision or that consequence is out of our control. We just want to get in there and do the best we can. And if we put ourselves on a high level of performance, at the end of the day, the win is, self-explanatory, is a matter of consequence of that. We were very happy for him to honor himself in that perspective and finish in the way that he feels happy to finish.
Due to his injury, which was intensified during his last fight, it has been more than a year since we've seen Gorimbo compete. Now, the Zimbabwean is back and more eager than ever.
Temba is a consummate professional. He dedicated and invested a lot of his time and his own resources over and above his own training to get his hand ready and rested and recovered for the fight, so he can give himself the right timelines to be ready and physically, mentally ready for this fight.
Temba came to see us because he had some injuries that he'd sustained in training. What we know is that hyperbarics can increase the rate of healing. He's obviously got to prepare for his next fight. If we can do something to help accelerate his return from injury, then we're only too happy to sponsor him for this.
Temba comes from a very, very hard background, and he translates that into the hexagon. He's one of the toughest fighters we have in the organization. He always brings it.
Gorimbo, as I said, is a tough guy. I mean, he's fought through dislocated shoulders. He's gone through adversity. I mean, I've fought through some tough stuff too. It's no doubt in my mind that somebody that EFC puts face to face with me is going to be a tough guy. It wouldn't be responsible for them to put me in front of a tomato can.
Think of your house. Think of your car. Think of your food in the fridge. Think of your couch. Think of your TV. Think of the materialistic objects that you have. Then take it all away. And then when you sleep on a street corner and you're hustling for a rand to get some food, to the point where you are now, where you're a self-made man, and then you'll put yourself into Temba's shoes.
Temba Gorimbo or Dave Mazany, who writes their name in history.
I think he's more loved as a fighter and respected as a fighter here in South Africa than he is in the United States.
South Africa, it's kind of weird. The more I come back, the more I feel at home, especially in Cape Town. It's a very odd thing for a foreigner to come into Africa and actually have a fan base. So it's an honor to be there. It's an honor to have that kind of greeting when I get there. So I'm really looking forward to performing in front of the Cape Town crowd.
He says he's the adopted son of Cape Town. I did my amateur career in Cape Town. I had 15 fights in Cape Town. That's like my home away from home. So I've got friends in Cape Town. I've got family in Cape Town. I don't know what this guy's talking about. It's good for him. He's trying to win the hearts of the fans. I'm trying to win the fight.
Temba Gorimbo loves to grind out the fights in the wrestling game, and he can't do that against a guy like Dave Mazany. Mazany is of impeccable wrestling pedigree, and with Temba's striking and Dave's ability to give that one-punch knockout, it's going to be an absolute war.
His weakness will be his experience level, right? I've had over 20 professional fights all around the world, and I guess I've described this in the past. I've fought with one arm too. I've had a fight in Australia at 185 that in Darwin, Australia, where I had to fight a guy with one arm and I ended up guillotining him in the second round. I don't know if there's anybody in the gym that can replicate what I do when I'm at full force. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I don't really look at him and say he has done this, that. I just look at myself and see where I need to improve, where I need to get better. That's what matters to me. What he has done in his career, that's good for him. What I'm doing in my career is what matters for me.
I think that the experience that Dave brings to the cage with him is a huge advantage. He's got a lot more fights, he's been in the game a lot more years, and even beyond that, he trains at one of the top gyms in the world with some of the best fighters in his weight division.
Temba's average of men that he's surrounded with far exceeds the quality that Dave Mazany's surrounded with, and we saw that in the fight against Don. We are aware of Dave Mazany's experience, but how's that panned out for him in the EFC?
I lost the lightweight title. I want it back. So my goal is to win this fight and be on the road to the next fight, and which hopefully is the title. I want that title again. I want that belt around my waist. I miss it.
Will the Zimbabwean continue on his path of dominance and destruction, or will the American dream remain?
Temba wants heads. You know, he wants heads for his mantelpieces. He wants You know, he wants trophies of war. That's what he wants.
Please, pitch up. I want him to come to the fight night. I want him to be there. I'm ready to fight. I hope he's ready, because if he's not, then tough luck for him.
Hope you're prepared, and I hope you're ready for a war, because Dave's going to bring it. He's going to be in your face from the opening bell until the fight's over, and if you're not ready for that pressure, it's going to be a rough night for you.
Gorimbo, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for stepping across the cage and fighting me. Let's see who's the best mixed martial artist.
On the 9th of September at Grand West, Cape Town, a former champion is seeking redemption when he goes to war with a former title contender as the USA's Dave Mazany clashes with Zimbabwe's Timba Gorimbo. An undefeated welterweight returns for division domination against a foreign BJJ specialist as South Africa's Cameron Pritchard collides with Brazil's José de Rocha. The war of words will end inside the hexagon as the rivalry between the DRC's Bruno Makulu and South Africa's Dino Bagatine comes to an epic conclusion. Plus, see the return of a Cape Town favorite as former champion Kitty Andratsky reignites his title ambitions against the rejuvenated ground specialist Warren Allison. EFC 63, 9 September, Grand West, Cape Town. Tickets and broadcast information at efcworldwide.com.